Hey, what's up? Y'all know who it is, man. The Dolphins D, we already in here. Ready to turn up this year. He gon' get it.
To Hard Rock Stadium.
We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We got the whole squad with me now. Train to go. Come play games if you want to. Try to crash eyes. You done took the wrong route. We gon' crash you like a stunt dude. Check y'all like 1, 2. Tap your head like your uncle. You wanna ride, stay buckle. It get loud down here, get wild down here. Turn the field to a jungle. Never disrespect the squad that's defended by a line and some beasts on the feast on the opposition. Another line in the back singing to the ER just in case you got through the first line with tripping. But if for some reason it get crazy, I got watchers on the corner for my safety. Everybody here well coached. Change the weather under pressure, stay cool like an AC. Woo! But we still make heat. Woo! Was you trying to play me? We be 3+ AD, but I'm a fool so low. Can't nothing break me. Be great, only way to do great things. Hit hard, only way to make a statement. Come up in our territory, make a payment. Or be in debt with your neck, gotta play. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad.
I hit them boys. We throw them toys. That's saying that QB. We them boys. We the realest. We go gorillas. We out here, homie. You gon' feel us. Don't make me come down. Be in that box. Like I'm red. I knock your socks. Won't play y'all boys. Cause we some bullies. We'll take your cookies. Cause y'all some rookies. I'm in the building. Me and Shot Jones. We do lane. We don't play zone. We play that man. So guard your hands. I see your eyes. You're scared,
we
man.
We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. We gon' defend. Homie, this side. And we gon' defend. Let me hear you say, his squad. Yeah.
You already know, man, we're out here with the legend, man. Live and direct, man. Pat Chain, and it's going down, man. Solo DPWA.
What's up, man? Shout out to Miami Sports Music.
Hey. It's the new anthem for the new era. Fins up.
Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Hit.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw it up. Throw your foe up in the sky. Throw it up. Let them know that we gon' ride. Where you from? We be reppin' worldwide.
BWA, stay loyal till we die.
What is the come up? We been down for a minute, just to come up. We been reppin' that consistent, just to come up. Now the world gotta feel it. Reppin' so loud, whole world gotta hear it. A new era. Dolphins on the cleanse out. Tick, tick, tiz out. Till we reach the out. This a never stiz out. Rapping till we drizz out. So low D, I be rapping with this hip hop. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit.
This the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit.
This the new era and we back up in the mix.
It's the new era and we back up in the mix. Ain't no more relying on fits. It's time for Tua to get us lit. That's why we got Waddle at 6 and Jalen Phillips is a brick at 36. We got Javon Hollins batting hit stick. Eichenberg protecting hips. 2 whole years and he ain't slipped. Run along, he got that gritter, triple threat, he's so legit. Darnell Coleman, Jared Dokes, the 7th round was such a gift. That's why we toast, that's why we sip, that's why we repping MSM. Miami sports music, don't confuse it, don't abuse it. Unless you want a new contusion, real talk, ain't no illusion. Solo D started a movement, MSM the institution. TD fins the contribution, yeah, we started a new unit. Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit.
This the new era and we back up in the mix.
Throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit, throw them fins up, throw them fins up, hit.
This the new era and we back up in the mix.
MIAMIDOLPAINs. When do I begin? I've been rapping since a kid. If you rapping, then we can.
TWA, if you reppin', then we can.
Welcome to Preseason. We asking what would Shula do? He would take the narrative and spin it like a hula hoop. He say let it Coach Flow. Coach Flow gon' do his thing and he gon' bring it to it in and to it. Come and change the game. Watch the squad ball out. Got the fans all excited. Coolers out. Grills on. Got the tailgate ignited. It's the Aqua Society. They know we stay united. DWA. We be down and start a riot. Throw them fins up. Throw them fins up. Hit. Throw them fins
It's the new era and we back up in the mix.
Who that?
So low, so low, so low.
I'm trying to tell. You feel me? But that's how we put it down. We put it down every time when it's time to show up for the fans. We out here. You dig?
They know it's coming. Yeah.
We out here with it, man. Let's go. DWA, man.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. My intuition told me this. To trust the coach, he holds the gift. He knowing when to go with fits. So we knowing when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount. Super Bowl, yeah, we en route. I don't know when, but it's close. I don't wanna overhype, but I just know I like it. So excited, you gon' notice now. You should notarize it. They say Tua from that rock. Shout out to Samoa and Islands. Time to lay the smack down. You think he Dwayne Johnson? Time to be the people's champ. Hit him with the people's elbows. Stick together like it's Velcro. You think you could stop us? Hell no, all day I dream about sports. I think I need some chateaux. Custom with some darkest colors. Just to let them know we here. Yeah. I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
To a time, to a time. Really hope he the man. Hope we found us a gem. Like the Heat found Bam. Wanna take time to thank Fitz, cause he put on a show. But the young man up, in the whole city know. Time to catch all the blessings. Cash out on the investment. Ball out, don't choke. Fins want all the smoke. Chris Gregg gave hope. Coach flow like spoke. Dan Marino still a GOAT. But to a man on go. Watch to a man throw. Watch to a man scope. Watch to a man dishes that we never ever seen before. Fins up, let's win. Boy, I'm ready for a ring. Maybe 3, 4, 5, 6. It's damn week, use 10.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Biz for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to walk and broke. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
So low, so low, so low, deep.
So low.
So low, so low, deep.
Hey guys, I'm Danny Johnson, CEO at TPP, the Positive Porpoise.
I'm Jason Miller from Fins Up SoCal Fan Club.
I'm Scott Howell from Atlanta Dolphin Club.
Mark Angelo, NorCal Dolphin Club.
And you're listening to Clock Blockers, Miami fans' #1 morning show.
Run it, 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 run it.
Now my mic is on, so now we're good. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Stephen D. It's another Friday. I had another case of the Fridays, guys. My bad. How's everybody doing this morning on Spread Kindness Friday? I am super excited to see y'all on Good Morning Family and Fidlaws. I'm talking about Clock Blackers, baby. What is up, Miami fans' #1 morning show? It's Friday, guys. It's game day Friday. If you are not wearing your Dolphins gear, I don't know what's going on with you. You need to be fresh to death like I am in my dirty sportswear right now. That Dolphins gear. Come on now, guys. Come on. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, look, I appreciate what y'all are doing, and I need y'all's help just a little bit more by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done so already, please go hit that like button. Hit it, smack it, tap it, eat it, whatever you got to do to it. Just make sure you do it because it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Come on, people. Let's go. Let's get with the program. Come on. I appreciate y'all's help if y'all are doing that. But if you won't, you guys can also sign up to become YouTube members. Now, that does cost, but you get exclusive perks with this. So make sure you sign up and become a YouTube member. You get access to early release of Solo D's weekly music videos. You're going to have access to Doll Freaky's The Freak Show mini-sodes that are going to be coming out here soon. You're going to have access to What Would Shula Do? You're going to have access to, I'm talking about Hellfins, the greatest Spanish-speaking podcast there is. And also, Fire and Ice Combat Sports Podcast with Angel Ortiz. We got so much stuff lined up on the #1 network, Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. So make sure you guys sign up and become a member today. Also, guys, I want to give a big shout out to Tailgreeter.com. What is Tailgreeter.com? Tailgreeter.com, well, a tailgate is a way for fans to express their love and passion for their team and city and community. And the parking lot allows everyone to be themselves no matter where they're from or what team they root for. So when it comes down to it, there's no denying the allure of the game day experience, and tailgating is the glue that holds it all together. So this year, when you guys are down at the Hard Rock, I want you guys to think of East 32 Dolphins Tailgate. And you want to know why? Because usually on Spread Kindness Fridays, it hadn't been for the last few weeks because he's been out and about. But my man, the one and only, Cameron, what is going on? Cameron, how you doing, brother?
Hey, good morning, Clock Blocking family. Good morning, Stephen D. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? Tell us a little bit about Tailgreeter and what you're going to be doing with them this year.
So Tailgreeter, just as you described it, it's kind of like Airbnb for tailgates. You get on the website, tailgreeter.com. Say you're traveling to Las Vegas, you're traveling to Miami if you're from out of town and want to join in the festivities, pregame festivities. East 32, Dolphins tailgate, which is my tailgate at on the east side of Dolphin Stadium, is the host tailgate for tailgreeter.com. So basically what you do is get on the website, and they're launching an app this week that'll be able to place you right at the tailgate. But you get on the website and say, hey, man, I want to join your tailgate. You hit, the join button. You pay for whatever, fee is up there on the site. And you get exclusive admission to East 32 Dolphin tailgate. And you can do this at any stadium, NFL stadium throughout the country.
It's awesome, guys. Go to follow Tailgreeter on social media at Tailgreeter. Make sure you guys go do that. So big shout out to Tailgreeter. I appreciate the love there, guys. Look, I want to obviously talk about how you've been, man. We haven't seen you on the show in a while as a co-host. We've seen you on as a guest, but I am super excited to have you on as a co-host. What you been up to? How's everything been?
Glad to be back. Hey, man, I want to thank everybody here in the Clock Blockers fam for the support over the past week. I had my mother passed away, and so I was managing that and dealing with that with the family and everything. And but I'm glad to be back. But I appreciate all the support of the Clock Blocker fam through that time for me.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, I know that you were going through a rough week last week and actually the last couple of weeks. Your dog had passed away, and then mom passed. It's been a rough few weeks for you, but you know what, man? You're here now. You're hanging out with us, and I just
got to be thankful for the time spent and move forward. It's life, and it's just a part of life that we all have to manage and endure, and can't do anything but move forward, so that's why I'm here, and let's get after it, man.
No doubt. I usually every morning go through the chat and shout out the people that are in the chat, but real quick, just give a big shout out to D-Dub, Estefan,
Chef Jew,
Pete is in the building, Ennis, Ryan AP, everybody. So look, what's going on? Okay, so you haven't been on in a couple of weeks. Let me just ask you first, right off the bat, what are your impressions of the first 2 weeks of preseason?
Well, I mean, optimism's high, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of good things from the offense. We've seen Tua take the steps that we were expecting him to take moving forward with this offense. I think we've seen with the kind of two-headed monster, and I want to call it three-headed monster of offensive coordinators with the quarterback coach literally calling the plays. We've seen, a new offense, an RPO-based offense with quick progressions from Tua, utilizing his pinpoint accuracy and his quick release. We have the studs on the outside to make this offense a dynamic offense. That's number one for me. That's what I've been most impressed with. Number two, I think that the depth of the defensive line is really impressive. I mean, you guys remember up until that Buffalo game last year, we were a top 5 defense, and we slipped to number 6. And I think we've improved with the additions of Jenkins and Butler on defensive line, the maturation of Raekwon Davis and Seiler. And then we added McKinney, added McCourty, and we drafted Javon Holland, which are all upgrades to what we had last year. So,
and Sammy Gavon obviously has taken a huge step too.
Oh, absolutely. Direction. And that's what you want to see. And that's the development that falls on the coach's shoulders. Guys like Gavon developing and showing out now and just providing more depth for this team. I'm excited for that. What I'm most worried about, just like everybody else, is the offensive line. And with the news of Eichenberg going down again with an injury, we'll see how long that lasts. But that's what worries me the most, because without an offensive line, this offense is not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not at all. Now, I will say, efficiency-wise, the first 2 weeks of preseason, you've seen Myles Gaskin. You've also seen Salvin Ahmed actually be productive on the O-line. averaging over 4 yards a carry, both of those guys through the preseason. And I tell people all the time, if you average 40 yards per carry, you're going to be fine. Your offense can be productive with that from a run game standpoint. And I'll be honest with you, seeing Tua's pocket presence has me even more excited because he's stepping up in the pocket. He's moving around in a big way. And I just like everything that's happening. I'm actually really glad. So the news came out yesterday that Tua's going to sit for the third preseason game. None of the starters are actually going to play. So it'll be exciting to see who actually plays, because I think a lot of the guys that are playing on Sunday afternoon are going to be bubble guys that are right on the bubble. Would you agree?
Right. Absolutely. Guys like Jared Dokes and Landon Roberts, McCourty, and guys in that defensive backfield that we have so much.
Shaheen, Durham Smythe. I think those two guys are on a bubble too.
Agreed. We can get into that as we break down the 53 here in a little bit, but you're absolutely right. I'm excited to see these guys play. I'm excited to see Jared Dokes get the lion's share of the carries and see what he could really do. And listen, he'll be playing on his home field, so he's back home in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, look. So Cincinnati is obviously the where they're playing at. Joe Burrow is going to start. So Cincinnati starters are going to play. So it'll be, I need fans to understand we're not playing our starters. That's already been announced. Cincinnati is, but let's see how good the second and third team is against their first and second teams. And I think that'll be a good test for these guys.
Yeah, I agree, man. And just for Joe Burrow, man, I hope we get to him, but man, I hope he stays upright just for his own sake, Gosh, that guy, coming
he's been
back
through hell and back, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had the torn ACL last year. So you want to see everybody do well, but we want to see the Dolphins do better.
Definitely. All right, well, let's kind of, break it down by some of these bubble spots. Do you want to get into the bubble spots and see where, the
absolutely throw it at me? Let's go. All right, because I was listening to you all yesterday, and I listened to some of the takes, in which most of it I agree with. So let's break it down by position and see what we come up with.
Well, I mean, look, starting at the corner position, there's three guys that I believe that are on the bubble. I think Jamal Perry, Cravon LeBlanc, and Justin Coleman, those three guys are going to get maybe the last cornerback position. I think everybody else is kind of in agreement of who's going to make that corner.
Well, here, I think Justin Coleman's your starting nickel cornerback.
Okay.
So I think he's a lock to make the team. Perry, as you mentioned, I don't see him making it. I'm not sold on McCourty making the team either. He's
really Jason McCourty.
Yeah, I mean, listen, is he going to start? Is he going to, play over? If he plays, it'll be kind of like a safety corner hybrid position, right? When they have a 6 or 7 backfield package on the field. Is he better than Nick Needham? No. Is he better than Coleman? No. I'd say he's, he through this training camp, he hasn't, showing out over even, Jamal Perry or Trill Williams, and we have to talk about him.
I love Trill. He's been having a damn good training camp.
And to my point, so he's been playing, better than McCourty in the training camp. So do you keep, an aged, veteran salary and try to develop a young guy? And that's what, historically Greer and this team is shown to do. So, that's why I say McCourty's on the bubble.
Wow, that I have not heard that take from anybody yet about McCourty, because let me ask you something from Coach Flo's standpoint. He's gotten rid of a lot of players in his first couple of years that are high talent veterans, but are great locker room guys, right? Like that are great leadership guys. And I'm not saying he hasn't replaced or put his own guys in there, but having somebody like Jason McCourty, I feel like you're also bringing him from a leadership standpoint in the locker room. And that plays a key into it, right?
It's Xavier's backfield, isn't it?
Yep, that's true.
So, you don't bring in somebody to challenge the big dog in terms of locker room presence. And they just made a huge commitment to X. And they have already a huge commitment to Byron Jones economically, salary-wise. So that's just another factor why I say McCourty, in my eyes, could be on the bubble.
Well, and I also think that's all the more reason that Troy Williams makes the team, because he's a rookie. He doesn't cost much, and he can get better.
Exactly. And even if they stash him on the the reserve list, which I think will happen with Terrell, the practice squad, that's what I think will happen with Terrell.
All right, well, let's go to defensive ends. We got Strobridge, Tyshawn Render, Emmanuel Agba, Jonathan Ledbetter. What do you think is going to happen at the defensive end position?
Well, Agba's a starter, right?
Yep.
Ledbetter and Strobridge. Strobridge really hasn't done anything in camp to make a name for himself. He hasn't performed better than either Render or Ledbetter. Ledbetter is somebody who I know the team likes very much and suffered 2 season-ending injuries the past 2 seasons. And he's had a good camp. And he provides, good depth behind Agba. He's basically the same type of player. I think they like Tyshawn Render too. He's more in the Andrew Van Ginkel type, bend and press type outside defensive end. But I think he makes a team on the practice squad.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, 100%. What about somebody like on the defensive tackle, defensive line? You got Adam Butler, Raekwon Davis, John Jenkins, Benito Jones, Zach Seiler, Christian Wilkins.
I think the guy, and it pains me to say this because I liked him out of college. I think he went to University of Mississippi or Mississippi State. I think it was Mississippi, but Benito Jones is a load up the middle. But you brought in Butler, you brought in Jenkins to play that position, backing up Raekwon Davis and Wilkins and Seiler in that rotation. I think Benito is the odd man out, and he has practice squad eligibility also. He was an undrafted rookie coming out of school last season or before the season prior, and played considerable snaps in the back end of the season. But he's somebody that you stash for depth because there will be injuries along that line. Guys are going to get dinged up.
You bring up a good point. So obviously, I think one thing that makes teams successful or Super Bowl contending teams is keeping players healthy and having health throughout the season. Now you're extending the week. You're extending the season by one more game. What are coaches going to take into account in the 53-man roster this year because of the extra game, where they might be like, well, this guy gets hurt too much. He's better than this player, but I would rather have somebody healthy who's almost as good and not get rid of it.
And this is something I agree with Big John on all the time. You're only as productive as you are on the field, right? I mean, Preston Williams is the biggest example of this. He's the unicorn, but if the unicorn's still in the stable, he's no good. So to your point, you got to have healthy players on the 53, but that's why they expanded, the practice squad to 16 players this year. Because you can protect more, but it's also, for COVID regulations. I mean, you're seeing what's going on in Tennessee right now. Tannehill, and I think there were 7 other players that are in COVID protocol, which, for the next 10 days, they're not able to practice or be in the team facility. And that's kind of devastating. So you need, depth and high quality depth. And I think Greer's done a good job of building that depth on this team.
D-Dub said eligibility for practice squad can be a determining factor along with dead cap money. You agree with that statement?
Eligibility for the practice squad can be a determining factor along. Oh, absolutely. 100%. And don't forget, just because, players are put on our practice squad doesn't mean we're not looking at other practice squads and poaching them. Trying to sign them onto our active 53. There might be some good players that are available out there in the old Jeff Ireland days of churning the bottom of the roster. I mean, that's how you build depth, right? No doubt.
Shout out to Miami Football Talk. Appreciate the retweet and the shout out on Twitter this morning. I'm always on Twitter, so big shout out to you, my guy. Definitely already retweeted that. D-Dub says you can only protect 6 players on the practice squad from being poached by other teams. I thought it was 4. I thought it was only
6
4.
this year. It's 6 this year. But that is going into game day. I think, and D-Dub, correct us if we're wrong, I think you have to announce those by Thursday according to league rules now.
Breaking news around the NFL. The Saints are expected to name Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback in New Orleans.
I ain't gonna lie, Jameis, he might have a box of rocks up there in between his ears, but man, he's throwing dimes all around the field this year. And as long as he can limit his interceptions and stupid plays, I mean, they're gonna have to, no offense to anybody, but kind of scale. I'll say scale back the offense this year to help Jameis out. But man, he's got the arm talent, right? I mean, in Tampa Bay, he threw for 30 touchdowns, but he also threw for 30 some odd interceptions. I mean, if he cuts that in half, it's a playoff team.
Yeah, definitely. I had to admit, one of the guys I liked, and I'll bring this back into the Dolphins conversation with this comment, is I love the Swiss Army knife, as they put it, in Taysom Hill. And, we had our own kind of version of that in Lynn Bowden and a little bit in Malcolm Perry. But Lynn Bowden's out for the year now. And Malcolm Perry hasn't really lived up to any expectations. Not that there was a lot, but he hasn't really stepped up. So I don't know if we have a Swiss Army knife on our team this year, with that being said.
Yeah, his name is Albert Wilson.
But he's got to stay healthy.
Man, you're exactly right. He's been healthy. I think there's been a little bit of shell game going on with these players, especially Parker and Albert Wilson. And Preston Williams to a different degree. But I think the next 2 weeks, as we get after this game against the Bengals, you're going to see who's on the field and who's going to be practicing.
One of the things that I want to see when it comes back to, health or playing time. Let's kind of get into playing time and back to the defensive line just a little bit, and then we'll go to another position. Christian Wilkins. I want to see him make a big step up this year, but there's so much depth on the defensive line that I don't know if his snap count's going to get any higher than it was from last year. What are your thoughts about Christian Wilkins and how his playing time will be this year?
Well, I look at the defensive line as kind of these pieces that snap in and snap out depending on the situation, right? Christian Wilkins can play the 1, he can play the 3, he can play on the outside, the 5 technique. The guy's versatile, and you mentioned Swiss Army knives. He's our defensive Swiss Army knife on that front line. Mm-hmm. Raekwon Davis is going to push on the outside too in some situations. Agba can slide inside. Seiler does the same.
Jalen Phillips can do it all.
Jalen Phillips and AVG on the outsides, can move into a 5 technique when needed as well. So to your point, and what I'm trying to say is all these guys are interchangeable, right? And then you short yardage situations, rushing downs, you plug in Butler and Jenkins, and you really have the makeup of a really solid defensive line.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's kind of get into the guard and tackle positions, because I think this is where our success is going to be this year, the trenches from the offensive side. So Robert Jones, Solomon Kinley, Dervell Nato, Jesse Davis, Robert Hunt. And I know I'm missing more guys, but that's what they have there for guard, really.
Yeah, so, Kinley and Hunt, right? Those are your starters. Dieter in the middle, right?
Yep.
As far as backups on this for the interior guard unit, it'll be interesting because so much depends on the health of Eichenberg, right?
Yeah.
You got Jackson on one side and where Eichenberg plugs in. If he's healthy, I think he's your starting right tackle.
Liam Eichenberg?
Yeah, and I think in my
By the way,
opinion,
real quick, Larnell Coleman, Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Greg Little, Adam Pankey finish up the tackles.
I think Pankey and Davis are your backups with either of those guys, especially Jesse Davis able to slide inside as he has done in the past. I think they like Pankey in jumbo sets, because he's athletic enough to play on the outside of that line, on the left side of the right tackle, or the right side of the right tackle, rather. So I think he sticks on the team. I think Larnell Coleman is someone they drafted and they like. The guy's huge. he's got arms that stretch out to South America, and I think he's a prime practice squad candidate.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you have questions, put in the chat box, hashtag clockblockers, hashtag Dolfan chat, DOLFAN chat. If you guys have any questions, we obviously want to answer it from you. So use the hashtag Dolphin chat you see in the bottom left screen there, hashtag Dolphin chat. Put that in. Ask us a question. We would love to answer it for you, Cameron and myself. I know that you guys have questions about the roster, or you guys have thoughts about the roster. We want to hear from you as well. So put that in the chat box. Go ahead and interact with us. All right, let's kind of go into the linebacking position, because I think there's going to be a guy or two that's good. That's going to be the odd man out. Jerome Baker, Vince Beagle, Sammy Guevon, Shaquem Griffin, Josh Harmey Clemens, Benardrick McKinney, Calvin Munson. Let's just start with Shaquem. Does Shaquem make this team?
It depends. Like, his impact on special teams, I think, saves him on this team.
Does that mean he has to have a big game on Sunday afternoon, or is he like where he's at now?
I think he has to show the ability to be a high-quality backup to Baker and to McKinney, who, in my mind, those are the two guys. And I leave Jalen Phillips and AVG out of this conversation because they're more defensive ends in my mind, even though they have linebacker titles. I'm talking about the guys that play the Mike and the spread linebacker positions. So for me, McKinney and Baker are your two locks, right?
Yeah.
Agwavon, he balled out and he plays a great special team. So I think he's safely on. So that's three. And then I think there's one more guy that makes this team. And I think it's between Griffin and Roberts. I think all the rest of them are casualties.
I mean, you still, and you said Jalen Phillips, obviously.
Yeah, Phillips and AVG are definitely on this team. I think the wild card here is Vince Beagle. And I know I said some things on the chat yesterday that people disagreed with. But he's been injured, right? So if he can't be on the field, he's worthless to the team. But when he is on the field, he's impactful. Go back to his 2019 season when he first came over from New Orleans. He was super impactful. He had 2 sacks, but most importantly, he had 13 quarterback pressures. And to me, that's just as good as a sack, because you're forcing the quarterback out of his rhythm to do something that maybe sets up the linebacker or the secondary for an interception or a turnover or a tackle for loss. He had 59 solo tackles, I believe, and in 15 games, I think he played in 2019. And he has the ability to bend and rush just as good as anybody else on this team from that outside linebacker position. So I think if Vince Beagle is healthy, he's on the team.
What about Duke Riley? Duke Riley's had a pretty good camp, but I don't know if there's room for him on this roster.
I agree with that take. For me, he's not anybody that's going to change this team.
There's so much potential there with the kid, though. I like him a lot. He's in a 5th year out of LSU, but
he's bounced around a lot, and he is who he is, right? He's maybe slightly better than average, 2nd or 3rd team linebacker.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Guys, keep the hashtag Dolphin chat questions coming in. I'm going to go back up and go through them all here in a minute. So make sure you guys keep on putting that in the chat box, hashtag Dolphin chat, your questions, your thoughts, and we'll go back through them. Do we keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster, or is Reed Stenick?
No. Stenick goes to the practice squad. Like him, and I like to see him have a good game, because who knows? He might be a trade bait as well.
Yeah, for somebody who doesn't have any backup quarterback depth, Reed Stenick definitely could be a decent backup quarterback somewhere. Jacoby's going to get a lot of the snaps on Sunday afternoon, I assume.
I think Jacoby gets maybe 1 quarter worth of snaps, and
Reed Stenick plays the other 3.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, let's go to the running back position. Salvin Ahmed, Malcolm Brown, Jared Dokes, Myles Gaskin, Patrick Laird, Jordan Scarlett.
I think it's unfortunate because I like Patrick Laird, but I think his time is up.
Yep.
And Brennan Scarlett, is it Jordan Scarlett or Brennan Scarlett? Because there's two Scarletts on this team.
Jordan Scarlett.
He's the kid out of UF, the rookie running back, right?
Second year running back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a practice squad guy. I think Dokes makes the 53 because he does play special teams. He's a good backup for Brown. He plays in between the tackles, and he's just as good out of the backfield running the wheel routes, and he's got good hands, as is Laird. Laird can't go up through the middle.
So by that sentiment, we're going to keep 4 running backs then.
Correct. And I think, I think Dokes gets, a lot of, punt and kickoff coverage, time as well. All right. So Esta, can I interrupt you real quick here? Because Esta's got a comment. So Esta, this shirt, one of the new East 32 Dolphin tailgate shirts for this year with Tailgreeter.com on the bottom. So we're going with the little Hawaiian Tua theme this year, and that's where this one came about.
Shout out to Tailgreeter. That's pretty awesome. I know a guy that might need a shirt. His name is Stephen D. Have you heard of him?
we might have one for the first game for you, buddy.
Guys, come to East 32 Dolphins tailgate week 2, opening week. Stephen D, myself, right? Big guy. We're going to do a live pregame show from East 32 Dolphins tailgate. We're going to stream it for 2 hours. I think we're going to do 10 to noon. 10 a.m. to noon is what we're looking like we're going to do for that. It's going to be awesome.
Sounds good. Shout out to the Godfather, NorCal Dolphin. What's up, Mark Angelo? Good morning.
Hi, Godfather. What's up? Good morning.
If you're not in the ticket Bible, man, you don't know what's up.
I love it, man. All right. Well, let me kind of come back to Patrick Laird. Just a little quick comment.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, there were so many fans in the chat that were talking and discussing that, hey, look, the Dolphins, they need to go out and get running back help. And we thought for sure Laird's probably a lock for the 53. And now, going through the preseason, I don't think he is. And obviously, I don't think he makes the team. Well, just a little thought on that comment that, 4 weeks ago, he was probably on the squad and now he's not.
I think he was bounced from the squad when Dokes was drafted. Here's the thing. You can look back at Patrick Laird and how he came about on this team. He was, thrust into a starting position because of injuries 3 years ago and kind of stuck on this team because he's had 1 or 2 good games here or there that he's produced. And, for me, though, he doesn't bring enough to the table for this current offense. He's redundant and he doesn't do anything better than the guys above him on the depth chart.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. All right, let's move on, man. Let's talk about the safeties. Let's go back to the safety position. So you got Clayton. Say his name. Fledgelman. Javon Holland, Nate Holley, Brandon Jones, Eric Rowe. Eric Rowe is, in my opinion, would you say top 15 safety in the league?
Ooh. I don't know 15 safeties in the league better than him, but I wouldn't. Man, it's hard to say. He's.
I feel like he's gotten significantly better. Like he looks better this training camp than he has in years past.
Well, he does one thing exceptionally well, right? And outside of the Kelsey game, which, who is going to, guard Travis Kelsey well for 4 quarters. And Darren Waller was another one that caught a couple good passes from him on him. But outside of that, he covers tight ends better than anybody else in the league. At least top 3.
Wow. And that's going to help us this year. Let me tell you, we play some big-time tight ends.
Yeah, and it's a specialized attribute that you need on your team these days, especially with guys coming in the league like the kid out of Gainesville that the Falcons, Pitts. These guys are athletes. Gesicki is another one. You need specialized secondary players just to cover these guys because they're going to eat up linebackers because they can't match the foot speed. And they're bigger and taller than most secondary guys. But Eric Rowe, has the athleticism and the height and the wingspan and the coverage ability to play with these tight ends.
So Nate Holley, is Nate Holley on this squad?
I love Nate Holley, right? I love him because he's a lunch pail type guy. And I think I mentioned this on the chat yesterday. I think Holley makes it over Fedulum because of Fedulum's contract. Nate's playing for the minimum salary veterans contract, and Fedulum has got a pretty healthy contract that I think if they cut him, he saves the team about just close to $2 million.
That helps a lot. Javon Holland, what are your thoughts of Javon Holland this year?
Defensive player, rookie player of the year, right? Defensive rookie of the year candidate.
What about going into the safety position? How many safeties do you think we keep?
Well, again, it depends on how good they are in special teams. I think it's Holland, Jones, and Holley.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good. I like that. All right. Let's go to the tight end position, which is a big discussion. And then we're going to get into the wide receivers, and then we'll get into your hashtag Dolphin Chat questions, which we will answer. Let's get into Ethan Carter, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Long, Kiss Myrick, Adam Shaheen, Duran Smythe. First question, how many tight ends do we keep?
Gesicki, right?
Yep.
Shaheen?
Nope. I'm not counting him yet. I put Hunter Long behind him.
No, I'm putting him. I'm saying 3. So there's Gesicki, Long, and Shaheen. I think Durham Smythe is someone that gets traded or cut. I think they try to find a home for him. I think because we're going to keep 6 to 7 wide receivers with Mac Hollins and Parker. Anyway, I think that it's 3 tight ends and maybe stash Ethan Carter on the practice squad.
I would have to totally disagree with you because Smythe and Tua are good friends. That's one. And I think, and not that Tua has a say, but Flo knows chemistry when he sees it. So I think Smythe is the one that makes it over Shaheen because I think they're very similar in play, and you don't have the potential off the field issues with Smythe that you're going to have with Shaheen.
Listen, I get that. Shaheem is a better blocker, or equally as good a blocker as Smythe, and a much better pass catcher, route runner than Smythe. His hands are better than Smythe. His foot speed's better than Smythe. I'm not a huge fan of Shaheen off the field, but on the field, I think he's a superior player than Smythe. And it's also, I think this is where Pankey makes the team because he can slide into that, that seventh or eighth blocker when they have the jumbo sets. And, Smythe can do the same thing, but, he can't slide in and be a backup guard or tackle where, Pankey can sit outside and block just as good as Smythe can.
Anthony asked, Stephen and Cameron, is Hunter Long injury a serious one where he's going to be out for the season this year? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't heard anything of the sort yet.
No, he's been practicing and moving fluidly with that leg brace, and I think he gets a lot of snaps on Saturday. Is it Saturday or Sunday? And we'll see Hunter Long prove his worth for the 53 this weekend.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about wide receivers, the last position on this roster here. Will Fuller, Jakeem Grant, Mac Hollins, Kai Loxley, Khalil McClain, Kirk Merritt, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Preston Williams, Albert Wilson, and Malcolm Perry.
The locks: Parker, Waddle,
Fuller.
Those are locks.
Fuller, by the way, doesn't have to count towards the 53 the first week, I think.
You're correct. He's actually ineligible for the first game.
Yep. So somebody's going to be on the squad week run that's not going to be there week 2.
Probably Kirk Merritt. I think
that's actually, you might be able to stash him like that, I guess.
Absolutely will. And I think So we said Fuller, Waddle, and Parker, right? Those are your 3 locks. I think Albert Wilson's a lock. He's number 4. And then it comes down to Grant, for me, is somebody that you can't kick to the curb because of his game-changing ability. He's had a really good camp. He's showing developed route running, and he's really gotten in sync with Tua. And I think he's somebody that at least provides excellent depth to Albert Wilson if Wilson can't go, but it gives you just another slot gadget, game-changing type player, offensive weapon that you just can't kick to the curb. Now, if they get some stupid deal for him, I think he's a candidate to be traded. But he's someone that flips the field, changes the game, and has the ability to take it to the house anytime he touches the ball, if he can keep his hands on the ball, right? And so I think that's what Big John always talks about is that he can't keep his hands on the ball, can't come down with receptions, and he's not wrong, right? He's got to prove it.
Yeah, 100%. And you, let's talk about. There's a few different things I want to talk about. Malcolm Perry, like, is there just no way for him on this team? Is he a guy that you can stash on your practice squad?
Yeah, he's a second-year player, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't even need that now. There can be guys after 2 years that can be on the practice squad. You know?
Yeah.
I just and don't get me wrong. Are they eligible? Yes. But the question is, they still have to clear waivers. And are teams like, do any of the do you think these guys are attractive enough for anybody's 53 man this year? So somebody like Malcolm Perry is Malcolm Perry attractive to somebody else's 53 man roster?
I don't see it.
All right, but Kirk Merritt, I believe, is. Kirk Merritt would have a very difficult time clearing waivers.
I agree. I think Kirk Merritt is somebody who gets poached right away. Malcolm Perry, to me, reminds me of Pat White, and we all know how that ended.
Not well, sir. Not well at all. Jalen Waddle, what type of year do you expect from Waddle this year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year type candidate. I think he is such a he's lightning in a bottle, and just like Grant can take you to the house anytime he catches the ball. He's got his man from Alabama slinging him the rock, and he is showing elite route running throughout this camp. Man, it's gonna be fun to watch.
And then your thoughts on, just real quick, the Lynn Bowden situation, because obviously he's on IR. He was put on IR before the season starts, which means he has to stay on IR the whole year. But there is a caveat where if we release him, he clears waivers, he can still re-sign with us and come back on the 53 man later on in the year. What do you think about that whole situation in general?
Man, it's just a way to manipulate the roster, right? I mean, Lynn Bowden, I think he's a good player and he's worth investing in. If he was uninjured, would he make this squad as a, third teamer? I mean, he'd be one of those guys we're talking about it being on the bubble.
Yeah. George Albany says, brilliant move stashing Bowden the way that they did. Pete says Perry makes the team and chances are he makes 53 most likely practice squad. Y'all sleeping on Malcolm Perry.
Hey, I like Malcolm Perry and his game, but man, is he better than any, the guys in the wide receiving room that are on the bubble? And I say no. And that's, he might be a tough cut. He's the same size as Pat White. He might be tougher and smarter. Who knows? But man, Pat White almost got the life knocked out of him. So I think he's pretty tough.
Oh yeah. The fact that he still walked after that hit he took. Never played football again, but he did walk.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going into your hashtag Dolphin chat questions. I'm just trying to get to the top of it here. I'm looking for it. Let me ask you why I'm looking for the rest of these questions. Let's get into people are always talking about trades. That trades are going to happen between now and the start of the season. Give me 2 or 3 guys, maybe even 2 or 3 scenarios that are on our squad right now that you could see teams wanting to trade for. And what could we get in return for him?
Well, our entire defensive backfield, right? I mean, people wanted to trade for X. I don't think anybody would trade for Byron Jones' contract, but somebody like Igby, I think he'd be a candidate to be traded.
Wow, really? And do you think I'm talking about potential trades in the next 3 weeks?
I mean, you look at Igby, right? So he's kind of spun his wheels over the past 2 camps. His production's been, iffy at that, up and down for sure. He was drafted very high, and I think they could still trade him based on his draft status and get something attractive for him.
What about Jakeem Grant? Jakeem Grant's a name that everybody wants to bring up that, obviously I even like bringing it up as a potential trade.
Listen, Jakeem Grant was undrafted, and if they can get a 4th or 5th round pick for him, because he is an all-pro, he does the things that I talked about. He can flip the field, he can take to the house anytime, and those guys are valuable. They're a commodity, and so the Dolphins happen to have a wealth of those commodities right now, and Grant is very attractive to be, to other teams for those reasons, and could be a trade candidate for sure. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, he's not going to get cut, that's for sure.
No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Guys, I'm trying to go back through, and it's only letting me go up. So re-put your Dolphin chat questions in the box here, because I do want to answer those questions. There were a few good ones. I just wanted to save it till the end to be able to talk about it. So go ahead and put your hashtag Dolphin chat questions back into the box, because I want to hear from you. D-Dub says, Cameron, I see Grant getting cut because of the fact of his inconsistency in route running and catching the ball, and Williams because of his availability and not staying healthy.
Jakeem Grant has had an outstanding camp, and if you read, to a man, whether it's Travis or Omar or any of the beat writers, they're talking about Grant's development and his route running and how crisp it is and how he gets in and out of his breaks better than anywhere else outside of Waddle in this camp. So I don't buy into that narrative. I think he's evolved and worked on his craft, and that's what you expect out of a player, right?
Yeah, 100%. D-Dub, Dwayne says, Devontae Parker's a trade possibility. Grant is a trade possibility. Gesicki is a trade possibility. Gear isn't ready to cut ties with Iggy yet.
And listen, I take that back. Jakeem was a 6th-round draft pick. I stand corrected.
What about Gesicki? Is Gesicki somebody that you could see getting traded, or you just don't see the depth there he's just too explosive to get rid of at the moment?
You hit the nail right on the head. He is somebody that we can't replicate. I think Hunter Long was brought in to replicate him, but now with Hunter Long, being dinged up, I think it kind of secured Gesicki's place. I really can't see him being a trade candidate. You can't slide Hollins or Williams into that same position, even though the Gesicki slides out. They run different route trees, very much so.
That's a reason why Matt Collins now is a wide receiver and not a tight end anymore.
Correct. And Matt Collins is awesome on the boundary. That guy, I think he's going to have a serious impact on the team this year.
Matt Collins is going to be he's going to have a crazy year.
I think he makes Preston Williams expendable.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Okay, so first, one of the first questions I see here is Kirk Merritt and Preston Williams both make the 53-man roster. We already answered that, right? You think they both make it, right?
Kirk Merritt
and Preston. Kirk Merritt's bubble, but at minimum.
So we didn't finish that question. Actually, we got off on a tangent about the wide receiver. Yeah, I think I said on the chat yesterday that I see 6 wide receivers making the 53, and I think Merritt gets stashed. I think it's Grant.
I just think it's so hard to stash Kirk Merritt. I don't see him clearing waivers.
So if there's a waiver bid made on him, maybe they add him to the 53 at the expense of somebody else at another position.
So they try, but maybe it doesn't work.
I think
and they
so.
still keep him. Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's see here. Do you see Miami trading for a starter before regular season starts? If so, what position? That's from Pete.
Oh, it's got to be offensive line tackle position, but who's trading?
By the way, I think Greg
tackle?
Little's was a good. I don't think he's the answer, but I like the trade that they made with Carolina.
He's had a good week of practice, and we'll see. I think this weekend's game will determine a lot about this offensive line and who starts and who sticks.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm going through here and I'm looking for hashtag Dolphin Chat questions or thoughts here. Let me ask you one other thing. What do you think about the you weren't here a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the play calling, right? And having two offensive coordinators and having Charlie Fry call in the plays. I know you were very adamant. I think you talked to me off air about that. What do you think about that whole process?
The two-headed monster, the three-headed monster. Listen, I could care less if it's seven-headed monster as long as it's two is rolling. The offensive is scoring touchdowns and consuming clock and keeping our defense fresh. I mean, that's what that's what the offense is supposed to do. So I could care less who's up there calling the plays as long as there's good synchronicity and there's good flow to the game and the system works. Then I'm all for it.
Anthony asked, hashtag Dolphin Chat, in order for Javon Holland to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, what do his stats have to be? I think that's a good question, Anthony. I think for me, I would say personally, I think Javon Holland has to have 5 to 7 interceptions. And I would also go as far as to say he's got to have, a good amount of tackles for a safety. I think it's tough for a safety to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think it's out of the question, but I think the way he wins it is through interceptions. And as long as he's the leading interceptions guy for a rookie on the defensive side, I think he's got a shot.
I think top 10 in interceptions, top 10 in tackles, league wide gets him in the conversation.
100%. D-Dub said, Dolphin Chat, interception aside, does Calvin Munson make this squad?
Ain't no way.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a bunch of injuries in that linebacking room this week, I don't think he makes it at all.
Stephen Lamb asked, does Dokes make the 53? We kind of already answered that, but you can answer it again.
I say yes as the fourth running back because of his special teams ability.
NorCal Dolphin, Godfather, said, Dolphin Chat, how many yards does Tua pass for in 2021? And do the Dolphins have 2 1,000-yard wide receivers? Hashtag clock blockers. Let me be the first to take this question because I've answered this in the past weeks.
We both
and
have.
my thought is Tua throws for, I think I said 42 or 4,500 passing yards. And I think he has 32 to 35 plus touchdowns this year. I didn't say quite 40, but I'm not saying it's out of the realm that he gets 40 touchdowns. I think Tua is going to be MVP candidacy talk this year. As long as he stays healthy, by the way, guys. As long as he stays healthy, there's no reason. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to happen, but what I will say is it's not out of the question to see 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Don't be surprised if that happens.
Did you say 5,000?
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to. My thought is 42 to 4,500 yards and 32 to 35 touchdowns. But if he has some crazy games, like, bro, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just put it that way. But for the record, my receipt states 42 to 4,500 yards, 32 to 35 touchdowns. That's my receipt, just so everybody knows.
That's a boatload of yards in today's game.
That is.
To answer Mark's question, in my opinion, 3,000 yards is a 10 to 12 win team. 3,500 yards gets this team in the playoffs. 4,000 yards is a serious Super Bowl contender team. So I think Tua, fits in between the 3,500 to the 4,000 yard mark. I do not think the Dolphins have man, I'm on the fence about 1,000-yard wide receiver because it's going to be spread out so much. I think between Waddle, Fuller, and Gesicki, those are your top yardage guys this season. And maybe Albert Wilson. Listen, he's the wild card. I hope, I don't know if Wilson's going to play against Cincinnati or not. I hope he does, but that guy has the chance to lead this team in yardage if he's healthy.
So let me state this about the two 1,000-yard passing yards. I think it's going to be tough to do that because there's so much talent at wide receiver. Like, I want to see Waddle get Offensive Rookie of the Year, but if I'm perfectly honest with you guys, does he get that many catches to get that? No. Now I have a difficult time saying that with guys like Will Fuller, Gesicki, all those things.
Hey, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Waddle. That's the beauty of Fuller. That's the beauty of Albert Wilson. They don't need volumetric catch stats to be 1,000-yard guys because they're catch it and go, break tackles and be faster than anybody else on the field type of receivers. They have game-breaking ability, and so is Grant if he can catch the damn ball. But speaking of Will Fuller and Waddle and Albert Wilson, those guys don't need to lead the team on receptions in order to lead the team in yards.
D-Dub Dolphins Dialogue says, #Dolphin Chat, does Vince Beagle end up on IR to make space for Duke Riley or Brandon Scarlett?
D-Dub, I think it's absolutely plausible that happens. Again, this next couple
weeks. I think
weeks
more for Brandon Scarlett than Duke Riley. But it also depends on what happens on the game on Sunday. If Riley has the better game than Scarlett on Sunday and Vince Beagle goes on IR, Duke Riley's there.
That's right. I agree with that.
But remember, if you put him on IR, he's got to be there for the whole year. So I don't know if Vince Beagle's hurt. Like, I don't think he's really hurt like that. So I don't know if he goes on IR. I think that's a big thing there. Big John Stud 007 says #Dolphin Chat, trade Grant and Pete for a right tackle. LOL. I love it. Stephen Lamb, does Dokes, we've already answered that. Dokes does make the team, we think. Let's
chat
see
beef.
Here.
We got chat beef going on over here.
We got chat beef going on right now. Chat beef, C. Dola says. Let's see here. NorCal, Parker or Grant, your thoughts, fam? Cap for Life wants to know, NorCal, what do you think? Innes asked, #Dolphin Chat, what do you think about the job Greer is doing? Well, I think Greer is top 3 GM in the NFL right now. And if we make the playoffs, I would argue he may be the best. Because he didn't have a guy like Tom Brady come to his team, right? He didn't get, I feel like the job they did in Tampa was, I don't want to say, winning the Super Bowl is not easy at all. But it's easy when you have a Super Bowl MVP come to your team and you're able to sign veterans at league minimums and do what you need to do, right? So I wouldn't do that here. The other thing that I would also say and take into account too is you look at other places around the league that have, good teams or decent teams like Kansas City. They're good, right? And I think they've built it up the right way. Arizona's doing that the right way. And now I think Miami is that. I don't know another team off the top of my head where I'm like, okay, the front office is doing a really good job. I'm not saying that there isn't. I just can't think of one off the top of my head. So I think Greer's doing a great job. I love what he's doing. I think if we make the playoffs this year, or when we make the playoffs this year, it's going to be no doubt. Like, people should not question that man.
I think Greer, I have a little bit different take. I like what he's done and building the depth of this team. He's brought in veterans. He's shown that he gets rid of veterans that maybe don't fit the long-term plan of this team. Mm-hmm. But you cannot dispute the fact that he's improved this team year over year over year in terms of quality of depth and athleticism on this roster. And this year, I think you're seeing the best on paper athletic team the Dolphins have ever fielded, at least since, long time, let's say. And if they don't win this year, then people are going to be looking at Greer and Flo. But I think because
they'll be looking at Greer because of the offensive line. That's the only reason we don't win this year.
Period. I mean, regardless, if they don't win, they're looking at Greer. Period.
Yeah.
And what for whatever reason, and Flo in the same way, because you got to expect with this team that they have on paper to be winning playoff games this year.
Not just making the playoffs, winning a playoff game.
Winning a playoff game. And listen, Norkel brought up a good point about Grant. I know that he's such a polarizing player, right? People, you love him and hate him. I love him. But he can flip the field and take it to the house anytime he touches the ball, especially on kickoff returns, punt returns, right? And so how that plays into Greer in this question you just asked is that Greer improved the quality of athleticism and the superior athletes on this team. That trickles down to special teams, right? You're going to be putting better players on special teams, which creates better opportunities or more holes or better execution of special teams play, allowing somebody like Grant better opportunity to take it to the house. That's how that trickles down in my eyes. And that's why if you've got someone who has shown he can take it to the house, you put the 10 guys in front of them better, make them a better special teams, then you give Grant better opportunities to win a game.
Everybody knows my thoughts on this. Waddle should be returning all kicks. My opinion.
You said should or shouldn't?
Should be. People are going to argue with me till the day I die on that. That's fine. I have no problem. Put the best player on the field. Waddle's the best player on the field. I'm just letting everybody know. You keep the receipt by all means.
I can't argue with that.
Hashtag Dolphin Chat. Look how deep this team is 2 years after cutting ties with so many veterans. Greer and Flores and Flo are building a winner. Hashtag Clock Blockers. Like it. George Albany says 5,000 yards is a lot, man. However, 17 games helps him get there. High hopes for sure. I think 4,000, give or take a few hundred, is more likely if Tua stays healthy. Ron says Grant has a better catch rate than Parker and Williams. Fans have an unhealthy and unwarranted hatred for Grant. I think personally there's 7 wide receivers on this roster that are better than him at wide receiver.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. At wide receiver.
You can put but it's not just about wide receiver. It's being the 50,
I get that. So that's what moves him up. That's what moves him up. But then you're asking me, is Grant that much? So first of all, I think Waddle's the best return guy on this team. So I don't even think he's the best return guy on our team. That's just my.
Waddle hasn't played a meaningful snap yet. So slow your roll.
I'm telling you my thoughts. So I'm going based on what's the word? Hype, anticipation. Waddle's better at returning kicks than Grant is. So I don't need Grant. And God forbid something happens to Waddle. It's not like I don't have 2 or 3 guys on this team that can't return kicks. They're not as good as Grant, but Grant's not that much better than him.
Yes, he is. He's league leading. The guy has the ability to take it to the house anytime he catches a punt or a kickoff. Nobody outside of Waddle can do that.
Bro.
Nobody.
Grant, I appreciate the work he's done here. It's time to go. It's time to go, Grant. I will help you pack your bags.
If Greer can get Greer will be a GM of the year if he can get a draft pick higher than 7th round for Grant.
Bro, if he gets a 3rd rounder for Grant, I need everybody.
No, that ain't happening. That is not happening.
I'm not saying it is, but if he does, God love that man. Okay. All right, so I mean, look, that's what I think about that Grant, and people are in the chat right now.
I love Waddle. He took it to the house at Alabama, but he didn't do it in the NFL yet.
And it says league leading in what? He's talking to you, sir.
Yeah, he's league leading in punt return yardage.
NorCal says, I won't argue Grant is our 7th best wide receiver at best, but as total team value, Grant is making the team. I'm not saying he's not making the team. I'm just telling you right now, I don't think his value on this squad, this team, I'm talking about the 2021 Dolphins, okay? I think he's better served by getting rid of him and trading him. That's what I think. I don't think that people are going to argue with me on that. That's fine. Albany says Grant is worth a conditional 5th round pick. Cap for Life says 5,000. Y'all are taking crazy pills this Friday morning.
Yeah, I don't see 5,000, but George.
I didn't either. I just said I wouldn't be surprised.
There's 17 games. But going back to Grant, like, if the guy is he worth it if he can single-handedly win you one game? That could be the difference between making the playoffs or not. It could be the difference between home field or not. Grant has that ability.
What do you want with a return guy? What is his main job? To switch the field, right? Like his job is to play the field.
He does that.
And he does that.
And he has the potential to take it to the house anytime he feels a kickoff.
But let me ask you something. Do you not want to play Waddle at that position because you're scared he's going to get hurt?
Yes. And
why? He can get hurt at playing wide receiver, Cam.
So is Grant is he more or less valuable than Waddle as a wide receiver?
I mean, Waddle's better in all aspects. So Waddle's better.
As a wide receiver.
Waddle's better.
Okay. Is Waddle better than Grant at kickoff or punt returns?
Yes, 100%.
He hasn't proven it.
I'm telling you he is.
He doesn't because you say so doesn't make it true.
This is one of those times I wish I still was a betting man. I am not, so I'm not going to say what I really want to say deep in my heart. But I'm telling you right now, Waddle is that man's going to have.
You can tell me till the cows come home, bro, but he's got to prove it in a game.
And what I want
Grant has.
What I want from you, okay? I want a good gentleman courtesy thing here is when the word here is when Waddle returns his first kick, I want you to shout me out on Twitter, Steven, you were right. That's what I
have no problem doing that. Ain't gonna happen.
All right. I can't wait for my Twitter feed to blow up week 1, week 2, or week 3.
Episode 80 at what we at this 1 hour 17 mark. We'll go back there and run it back, because it ain't happening.
Bro. If you switch Jakeem Grant position or running back in Madden, his overall goes up crazy. Really, Pete? Really, Pete? I love you, bro.
Pete. I love it, Pete.
Let's see here. Baby Shaq 569. They are stupid to cut Grant, put Noah on returns, make him useful for something. Field position is very important. Steven, Walt Aikens made this team a few years only off of his special teams ability. Let's get something straight. By the way, he was captain too. Walt Aikens was a leader in the locker room. He was probably the best special teams player we had for a few years, but it was a roster that wasn't deep. Watkins would not be one of the best players. I don't know if he would, like, let's take Walt Aikens 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know if he would make this team. I don't. What do you think about that, Cam?
No, I love Walt Aikens, but I agree with you, man. Just the depth, between 40 and 53 is so much better.
100%. 100%. Let's see here. The new offense is tailored for Grant's skill set.
I agree with that.
But you still got okay. I'm not going to argue. Yeah, Grant is Kevin Hart's little brother. Yeah.
I love Big Drip. Yeah.
I want to hear Waddle catches deep bomb touchdown before any kick a return touchdown.
Can't argue with that, fantasy fan panel.
Here's what's going to happen. Week 1, Gillette Stadium. Waddle's going to be returning the kickoff. Okay, you listening to me? Taking it to the house. Taking it to the house. Week 1, opening kickoff. Waddle takes it to the house. Just saying, it's going to happen.
Listen, I know this is a family show, but every Dolph fan in America would cream their pants if that happened. Are you kidding me?
I would be, if that happened, I'd be like, Super Bowl. I might as well buy my ticket. We're going to the Super Bowl.
I'm going to fold up the tailgate and just take my ass home.
Dude, that would, yeah. And if that does happen, you best believe I'm coming back for receipts. Who told you that was going to happen? I did. Chef Shu said, subscribe, like, share, become a member today. Your seat is waiting for you to join us. George Albany says, I think it's basically pointless putting both back on kicks, Grant and Waddle, because the opponent would just kick it out of the back of the end zone. That would be the smart thing to do. You actually bring up a really interesting point here, George, and that would also help Mr. Tua Tagovailoa get to 4,500 yards, wouldn't it? I think it would help him because they would definitely be able to do a lot of things here. If that happens, bro, I'm donating whatever the yards for that touchdown live. Pete, my guy.
Pete, I'll match you. I'll match you.
I like it. I like it a lot. You guys are great. Let's see here. But no, let me go back to George's thing here real quick. I actually think you bring up a good point. So that means Tua would be starting all drives from the 25. But that means we basically take the special teams out of we would never start deep in our own territory. 75 yards all day.
And Grant and whoever you think is back there fielding punts, that's where his impact is made more so than kickoffs, because kickoffs nowadays are just a waste of time in my eyes.
Stephen Lamb, #Dolphin Chat. What is your prediction for the Dolphins' record this year? I mean, I said 13-4. I think this team is a 13-win minimum. With the way the roster looks right now. If what are your thoughts?
No, 12-5, 13-4, 100%. I think you got to go into New England and win. Then you got Buffalo at home, which to me, if you're going to be a contender for a playoff run or a deep playoff run, you got to protect your house, and you beat Buffalo in that first game, that first home game. You got at Las Vegas. To me, is a trap game. Listen, it's their first home game. They're in Vegas after 2 on the road, and it'll be a tough game. Let me put it this way. And then you got Indianapolis at home. I chalk that as a W, and then at Tampa Bay. So in my eyes, if they're 3-1, right, going into the game against the defending Super Bowl champion in Tampa Bay, man, it's going to be a lot of lights on that game. And if the Dolphins beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, then we can start seriously talking about this team as a serious playoff contender.
100%. Ryan AP says, I'm starting to lose hope in Noah. I pray he proves me wrong. NorCal Dolphin says, Grant is making this team, Steven. Dwayne says, #Dolphin Chat. Does Clayton Fedulum make the roster because of his special team skill set?
I think if Holly does it better, he's not because of the cap, the contract Fedulum has.
Clayton is one of those guys I think we could stash on the practice squad, though.
I think he doesn't make. No, he's too valuable somewhere else. It's a depth issue. It's quality of depth that Greer's built, and if there's a cheaper alternative that's just as good, meaning Holly, I think Clayton latches onto a different team. Someone like Chicago.
Let's see here. I'm going back up here. Chef Shoe. Let's see here. Mob rule. Why score quick and put our defense right back on the field? Stop that selfish fantasy football take. #Dolphins Chat. Stevenson, stop lying to these people. Delusional Patriots fan. Bro, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. And then Pete, yeah, I love you, Pete. I hope that happens. I love that delusional Patriots fan is in our chat daily. Daily. He wants to be a Dolphins fan.
I was going to say,
He's a closet Dolphins fan.
Homeboy's going to get some gear sent to his house.
Bro, I'm just saying, delusional Patriots fan, if you want the bandwagon application, we'll give you an early application. We'll waive the early applicant fee right now.
Stop by the tailgate, do a dizzy bat, and you're in.
I love it. All right, let me ask you. Let's talk a little bit about the three other teams in our division. I think that's important to talk about. So let's start with the Jets. What do you think of the Jets? Besides, what do you really feel for them? Be honest. Try to be, come at it from a perspective of non-bias. Like Zach Wilson, that team. What do you think of them and what they're trying to build up there, and how many wins do you think they get this year?
I think they have the right head coach. They already had a very good defense. They got some better than average wide receivers. I think, relying on a rookie quarterback is, it's never a good thing in the NFL first year, but he has the tools to succeed. And I don't think they're the worst team in the league in the division.
Delusional Patriots fan. I'm actually here with Patriots bandwagon to pick up some Dolphins fans. Never, not in a million years, bro. You are in the wrong place, my guy. Wrong place. I think here's what I say about the Jets. I talk about Jerry Jones all the time and how I would hate for him to be my owner. And I would. God, I would hate for him to be my owner. But if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I have to admit and say that I think I would rather have him over the Jets organization over the last 25 years, because I just feel like the Jets make the wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. And I don't know if Zach Wilson is a good decision. Salah's their new head coach, right?
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I like him.
I like him a lot. But I just feel like the Jets will find a way to jet it up. And
listen, I hope they do. But I tell you what, Wilson had a really good game last week. He really showed some poise in the pocket. He hit his progression. He went through his progressions. He hit his spots. He had some nice passes. He ran their offense really well. Like, they looked good with him. He threw an interception, and I hope he throws a hell of a lot more. But to me, the Jets are not that worst team in the AFC East.
I agree. All right, let's go up to New England. You go up to New England, you have delusional Patriots fan. Where are you at, by the way, buddy? I like your little background there.
I am in Isla Morada, Florida, halfway down to Key West.
I know. So excited. I wish I was there. You're making me so jealous because I just can't wait for, a month now? A month from now, we'll be together? Less than that?
Less than 20 days.
All right, let's go to New England. Let's talk about the Patriots. Belichick's obviously still there. It looks like Cam Newton's going to be starting, but I don't think any announcement's been made yet. But whether it's Cam or Mac, I really don't think it's going to be that big a deal, because either with Cam, you're going to get what Cam's been the last couple of years, or if it's if it's Mac, you're going to get rookie mistakes, right? And I don't think Mac's that good anyway, just my opinion. What do you think? What do you think about New England?
Well, Belichick's always going to have his team prepared no matter who's on the field, right? You got to respect him. He's worth, quite a few wins, just being the coach of that team. Yesterday, Belichick had a statement and basically was non-committal to Newton or to any starting quarterback. And I think that if Jones shows out and plays well this weekend, there's going to be strong consideration to start Mac Jones from week one. And I know that Belichick isn't afraid to do so. What's Cam done this offseason? I mean, he's missed more time than he's made, been on the field. And Mac Jones played a really good game last week.
Yeah, look, I definitely think hashtag Dolphin Chat. Patriots fans are delusional if they think Mac Jones is going to be the next Tom Brady. They must be smoking a lot of pot. That sounds about right. Here's what I'll say. I think Belichick is not. Oh, this is so tough to say because I know that it's partially some of my bias in me, but I feel like this is what I think. Belichick for the last 20, 30 years has been doing things a certain way. You draft, you build up your own guys, and you don't bring in a lot of free agents, but you get, if you need to get rid of guys because they're asking for too much money, you ship them out and you get whatever you get in return. And again, you take those draft picks, you build them up. And I feel like that's been the Belichick way for the last 20 or 30 years. What did Belichick do this offseason? He did something he's never done. He spent the most money in free agency. That's never happened with Belichick, ever. And I believe Belichick is scrambling, and he's I think he's drowning. That's what I think. And only time will tell. But if Belichick has a bad year this year, which I predict that they will, I'm going to tell you right now, look out for Belichick maybe not to be with the Patriots after this year.
I mean, listen, from your lips to God's ears, because Belichick is, he's the best coach in the league, right? Yeah. And to me, he's like a wolf. Like, you just can't trust him. And he'll pull something out of his ass and get his team prepared and ready to play. But I do think they're the worst team in the AFC East.
Oh, yeah, 100%. All right, and then let's talk about Buffalo, man. You got the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, stupid Bill Lazor. He was our offensive coordinator. I call him stupid because he's calling great plays now. He wasn't doing that when he was our OC. But yeah,
he didn't have the talent here either.
No, that's true. You're right, but still, it's stupid. What do you think about Buffalo?
Did you see who ran in a touchdown for the Bills last week?
No, I did not.
Matt Breida.
Sounds about right.
That guy's going to go for like 140 against our defense. Watch it.
I mean, what did Kalen Ballage do when he faced us with the Chargers a couple of years last year or the year before that?
I think the Bills are clearly the top talent-wise team in the AFC East. I think they have the best quarterback right now, and I think the Dolphins have done a really good job of closing that gap between themselves and the Bills. So I think the games are going to be super competitive, and it wouldn't surprise me if they split 1-1. It wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins won both, or it wouldn't surprise me if the Bills won both games, because I think they're really close on paper in talent.
Yeah, look, I think Buffalo does scare me, as they always do. Even when Buffalo's had bad teams, they've had our number. But I think this is the best Dolphins team we've had in the last 20 years. And I think because of that, I think we're going to straight up murder them week 2, is what I predict, by the way. I don't even think it's going to be a close game in our home opener. I'm just telling everybody right now it's at 10 points plus. And, I think the Bills are good, don't get me wrong, and the Bills could still win this division. But I think Miami's time is here, and it's now. And I think that we have just as good a team. Here's the thing. Josh Allen, before last season, there were people in Buffalo saying he was a bust. And all of a sudden, Stephon Diggs comes onto the scene, and they're a totally different team.
Man, it's the same stuff with Tua, man. I mean, you got to give these guys time. And, Josh Allen came out of Wyoming, a lower tier Division I team. Listen, the guy needed time to develop. He had the talent, and he showed it last year. I think he's poised to get better this year, and it is what it is. It's like I said, he's the best quarterback in the AFC East right now.
Yeah, look, and until otherwise stated, but I think that could be stated this season. Here's what I say: I think Bills have 14 plus wins. I think we have 13. I think we're right under there. I think the Patriots have, 7 or 8. And then I would probably say that the Jets will be lucky to win 5 games.
I think that the Jets and the Patriots will both be hovering around 4 to 6 wins, somewhere in that window. Yeah. And I could care less who finishes where, but I hope the New England finishes last.
Dead last. Let me ask you, who do you hate more, the Jets or the Patriots?
And
And
I
why?
have some really, really close friends in New England, so it's definitely them.
Here's what I say. I hate the Patriots because they win, but I hate the Jets because I hate the Jets. The Miami Miracle made me hate the Jets, like with a passion, with a disdain.
I can't stand the Jets because they're the Jets, right? And because Jason Taylor wore that hideous freaking green puke
For a
uniform,
year.
and
It's
and
the
that
worst
made
thing
me,
ever.
and that and the Washington football team, that Redskins uniform on him, but the Jets more so, like that was just like made
Slap
me
in the
hate
face.
them so bad.
It was a
But you're
slap
right,
in the
New
face.
England's a different kind of hate because we're more envious.
We're more envious of them.
Of their Super Bowl rings and Brady and that whole component. They're easier to hate because they win. Jets just suck, and so
I respect.
They're fun to hate.
I respect the Bills. I hate the Jets, and I'm envious of New England, or I have been for the last 20 years.
We just laugh at the Bills at their freaking idiotic, table crushing fans. I hope every one of them lands on their head, and they.
That's
take
just me. That's not kind. This is Spread Kindness Friday. That's not kind at all.
We got less than 20 days to the football season. Spread kindness on Thursdays now. I hope every one of those Bill fans take a milk crate challenge on top of that table.
I have to ask this. Step away from Dolphins chat for a sec.
The U.
What do you think, man? This weekend's big, right? Is it this weekend or next weekend?
Next weekend.
Next weekend. What are your thoughts?
I want a competitive game, man. Listen, I love
because Solo says that we're gonna win. I don't even know by how many, but I'm trying to being realistic here. I don't see how we win that game.
We don't have the track record, right? Like this program has not proven itself to be the caliber of Alabama yet. If they beat Alabama somehow, oh Lord, we're not going to hear the end of it.
Bro, Solo's coming out with a straight up, it's going to be crazy. It will be crazy if we beat
Solo's
Bama
going to get a Canes tattoo right on his forehead.
I love it. The U, baby. Look, I want to see. NorCal Dolph said, "Will East 32 Dolphins tailgate have a stack of milk crates week 2?"
You got to do the milk crate challenge while doing the dizzy bat challenge.
That's the stupidest freaking challenge I've ever seen, by the way, the stupid milk crate challenge. Have you watched these videos?
It's entertainment, right?
It's stupid.
It is stupid. I hate it, but it's funny to watch. It's fun to watch this stupidity. But TikTok just banned all those videos. I just read that this morning.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, wow. That's very interesting, actually.
Too many people getting hurt.
Well, it'll be interesting nonetheless. All right, man. Let's wrap up. Let's do our final thoughts of the day. Let me ask you, what are you looking forward to this weekend in the game first? What are you looking forward to in the Cincinnati game?
Man, that's a great question. Cohesiveness of the offensive line. I want to see Dieter, Hunt, and Kindley, who I don't know if they're playing much, but I want to see them play well. I want to see Jackson play well. I want to see Little, and if Eichenberg is not playing, I want to see Little play well. And then I want to see Brissett run the offense with the twos and give us more confidence. I think he's had a good camp. I just want him to solidify that confidence in us. And then it's all about the special teamers guys, the guys on the bubble, the Shaquem Griffins, the Landon Roberts of the world. And I want to see how good our second and third teams are in terms of depth. You remember going back to that Chicago team, we got run all over by Justin Fields,
100%
with the third team on the field. So I don't want to see that happen again. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for no injuries.
Yeah, 100%. I want to remind everybody, I'm actually I'm going to be on at 12:30 for about 15 or 20 minutes with Alex Dunno this afternoon on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So at 12:30 this afternoon for about 15 minutes, I'll be on as a guest on Alex Dunno's Dunno Daily Show on 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. So make sure you guys go check that out at noon today. Alex Dunno, 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. I'll be on there as a guest. Let me say, what I think this weekend is, I want to see these bubble guys show up and show out. And for me, that is going to be, I want to see with some of these offense. I want to see Greg Little have a good game. I don't think he's a bubble guy. I think he's going to make the team, but I want to see Greg Little, hey, show me why we traded for you. I want to see, honestly, I want to see Reed Sennett stay upright. Not that I think Reed Sennett's going to, be on this team, but if Reed Sennett, he's shown me something in his drives. Like he can go down the field and score a touchdown. Let me see it with this, second string defense that you're going to be playing against Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's going to be playing better players on Sunday afternoon from a roster standpoint. That their twos will be playing more than our twos will be playing. I think we'll see a lot of 3 and 4s in our game. And you talk about not getting beat out. I don't want to get beat out, but I'm not necessarily looking for the win per se. I just want to see us not get killed the way Justin Fields ran up and down us. And I agree with that statement there. Look, I want to remind everybody, just like Angel says, Fire and Ice Combat Sports Podcast returns Monday night with a great lineup. So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to Angel Ortiz. Love you, brother. Be good. What else you got, man? Anything else before we let you go? Oh, people want to know where they can buy this hoodie at.
Man, dirtysportswear.com. Hit me up on any of my social media, Cameron954 on Instagram or Facebook. Shoot me, a private message on Facebook, and I'll get you hooked up. Just send me your sizes. $30 each for those things. They're in limited supply right now.
And if you mention clock blockers, I get a portion of the sale. So make sure you guys go do that.
And you get a free sticker. No, seriously speaking, man, just hit me up, private message. They'll be on dirtysportswear.com. All this new fresh gear that I'm wearing today will be available at East 32, Dolphins Tailgate, and dirtysportswear.com exclusively starting week 1. Shout out to Atlanta Dolphin Fan Club. That's whose hat I made here for them.
Yo, shout out to Scott Howell, baby.
Scott Howell. Man, we're looking forward to seeing everybody. I want to thank everybody once again for the love and support over my last trying week. I want to wish everybody a safe and happy weekend. Let's go Fins, and can't wait to see you all again next week.
Guys, please go share this episode and all the other episodes from this week. We need to get those views up, and the only way we do it is if you guys either A, go back and watch, or B, tell your Dolphin friends and family, hey guys, did you guys check out this video? Make sure you guys go check it out. Make sure they hit that like button. All that helps, so make sure you guys go do that. If you guys want to donate to the channel, a couple different ways you guys can do that. You guys can do that through the YouTube Live Super Chat. You guys can also do that through PayPal, as well as the Cash App, MSM Podcast Network. So make sure you guys go do that. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Tailgreeter, our sponsor for the show. Tailgreeter, we love you guys. Hey, stand up and show us the back of that shirt again real quick, Cameron.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Hamlet. He's in the comment box, man. He's talking some smack about the milk crate challenge. He said I did it backwards. I did it backwards, blindfolded, rolling a blunt. How's that?
Yeah, okay. No, not at all. NorCal says spread kindness. Oh, you know what? I'm glad that it happened. So I'm glad you reminded me, NorCal. You reminded me. So I try to end every Friday show, with what Spread Kindness Friday means to me. So obviously Cameron's been going through a tough couple of weeks. And I always tell people, you never know what a text message can do. And it could just be, hey, man, I'm here for you if you need anything. And Cameron, I'm sure you got a lot of those texts over the last couple of weeks, right? Yeah, and just knowing that somebody gives, cares, means the world. And you could be going through just a real tough time. You could be having the worst day of your life. Just spread kindness. Just let somebody know that you're thinking about them. And that is an act of kindness letting know somebody that you're thinking about them. It can be a text message. It can be a Facebook message. It can be an Instagram post. Spread kindness is the way to go. And, I try to spread that every Friday here. I want everybody to know that I love them, that Big John Studs had a lot of surgery, had a surgery recently. So, I try to make sure Big John's good. Chef Zhu, recently dealt with some issues with his family. And all that. And TD Fins Talk in the building. What's up, TD? How you doing, brother?
What's up, TD, man? Shout out to you, brother.
I just, everybody needs to know that spread kindness is definitely the way to go. And I love you guys. I love all of you, seriously. And I'm glad that you guys support the show and you support the channel. And I hope you keep on supporting it. And Monday, we're going to have a great show because we're going to see how good the team did on Monday. And we'll talk about the 53-man. And, we'll keep on going towards week 1. The countdown is still on. All right. I love you guys. Have a good day from Miami Sports Music's Podcast Network. I'm talking about the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. Y'all have a good one. Peace.